what we know is that she's going to announce her running mate before Tuesday. She's got a rally in Philadelphia, which is in Pennsylvania. And that may be a big clue because the shortlist includes the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. But yesterday there was a leak. It's seemingly a leak of a video congratulating him from the mayor of Philadelphia. So it does seem to point towards the 51-year-old first-time governor of Philadelphia, although we are cautioned by the Harris campaign that she hasn't made her final decision and she still has final interviews to do with some of the shortlist this weekend. But now that she's been confirmed as the nominee for the Democrats, we're expecting the announcement to come out any minute, really.
Well, given that we seem to have established a pattern, well, indeed, there's always been a pattern, but a pretty firm pattern of late that the running mate goes on to be the next candidate thereafter. This is obviously an important announcement. What can you tell us about Josh Shapiro? What's he known to be like politically?
He's a political moderate in most senses of the term in America for a Democrat. So he won the governorship quite easily in a what we call a purple state. So people sort of vote half blue and half red in Pennsylvania. However, that some on the left of the Democrat Party are nervous or even against him because of his rather strong support for Israel. He is an observant Jew, and that will be only the second time that a Jewish American has joined a presidential ticket, because the only previous running mate who was Jewish was Joe Lieberman, who joined Al Gore's ticket in 2000.
Indeed, and I mean, quite apart from the sort of the Gaza aspect, I mean, given the sort of Kamala Harris is a Black Indian American, if her running mate is a Jewish American, is America ready for that?
Well, in a way, Hugo, there's only one way to find out.
Yes.
The Democratic Party has been the one pushing these boundaries. You might say trying to probe these glass ceilings. It worked in 2008 with Barack Obama, the first Black president. It did not work in 2016 when Hillary Clinton thought she was breaking the glass ceiling and, in fact, had already set up a victory party in a venue with a glass ceiling in 2016. So we'll find out. It is the only way, I think. The other way, I guess, would be certainly in terms of a Black woman, would be if, I guess, President Biden was to step aside for a month or two to show the nation what it looks like to have a Black female president. I don't know if Biden's going to do that, to be honest. He's a rather stubborn character, and I think he wants to serve out his term, and that's so that might just be a sort of fantasy presidential idea. So at the moment, it does look like, certainly in polling, that she is pretty much neck and neck across the board with Trump. So that would suggest that, well, at least around half of America is ready.
Yeah, indeed. And what do we know about the relationship between Harris and Shapiro? Have they much of one? Have they worked together in the past? Is there chemistry there? What do we know?
Well, in many ways, they have quite a similar background, because he has been Attorney General of his state. He's another lawyer. So in those terms, they will understand each other, because Harris, of course, was Attorney General of California, though not at the same time, but there is kind of a former Attorney General's club. And it was one of the things that was thought to be perhaps against him, that to present two lawyers who have come up in a similar way through the party machine, if you like, being really career politicians, that might count against him, and she might prefer to choose somebody like Mark Kelly, who's the senator from Arizona, who apparently is still in the running, who's a former astronaut and a former space shuttle commander, who has only recently become elected to political office at the Senate in Arizona. So We shall see which way it goes, but at the moment it seems to be pointing towards Shapiro.
Right. Okay. Now, turning to Donald Trump, he's finally agreed to debate Harris on the 4th of September, having made a lot of noises suggesting he wasn't going to. Why do you think he's relented?
Well, I'm not sure it's relented, Hugo, because this is Trump trying to take control of the process. There had been a debate arranged with Joe Biden for September the 10th with ABC News, which Trump has backed away from. He accuses ABC News of being fake news, and he would rather have it on his own terms with Fox News, which, as you know, is more a conservative network. And we haven't heard from the Harris campaign that they have agreed with this. So he's either jumped the gun on negotiations, or he's coming out to suggest that he would like to debate with Harris, whereas the terms may not have been agreed at all with the Harris campaign. This might just be posturing. So we'll have to wait and see what the reaction of the Harris campaign is.
What's your sense on how a debate would go head to head between the two of them? Because I'm seeing an awful lot of stuff these days of people going, "Oh, when Harris gets in the ring with Trump, she'll wipe the floor with him. She's a former prosecutor. She's so alert. He's so rambling." I remember people saying very similar things about Hillary Clinton quite a few years ago, and that didn't quite go as planned. So, what's your sense?
No, I think it could be similar to the Hillary Clinton debate, where Trump is a great disruptor, and no matter how forensic and well equipped his debate opponent is, Trump has got ways of being Trump in a debate. So we don't know anything about this proposed Fox debate, whether there'll be an audience, which Trump would love to try and play up to because he loves to get the cheers and the boos. We don't know about the microphone situation because in the CNN debate with Joe Biden, of course, there was a very strict policy that the microphone was turned off when it wasn't your turn to answer. So it was less of a debate and more of statements before your microphone got turned off, which again may favor Harris. Or it was said actually that Trump benefited from the situation because he couldn't make erratic and annoying interventions that turned a lot of the audience off against him, especially during those debates last time with Biden, when he interrupted so much he was deemed to have lost the debate.
Well, I mean, it is striking, like, as I said, that everyone expects that such a debate would necessarily go badly for Trump. And yet it was his debate with Hillary Clinton that probably pushed him ahead in that contest. And it was a debate with Joe Biden that led to the end of Joe Biden. So, I mean, it does seem to be something of a risk debating against him and not just a risk for him, right?
Absolutely. The risk is normally attached to the person who's ahead in the polls because American elections are so close that they really are trying to get just a small percentage. I've been told it's something like 4% of the electorate who are truly undecided. Well, at least it was in Trump Biden. Maybe it's a little more now. But you're right that Trump has emerged with victories from these debates, but it's so unpredictable. We just don't know whether Trump is going to emerge in the rather disciplined way that he handled Biden and just let Biden ramble and destroy his own campaign, which was unusual for Trump, just to sort of stay quiet and watch Biden flounder. Or are we going to get the Trump who was so overwrought and hyped up and possibly had COVID in the first debate against Biden in 2020 when he couldn't control himself? He had so much to say.
What's your sense of what the mood is like in the Trump camp? Because again, there's a broad view that the arrival of Harris in the race has completely sort of blown up the Trump campaign, that they were planning heavily on running against Joe Biden on the basis of his age and his infirmity, and now they can't do that, and they don't really have a backup plan. Is that a fair criticism, do you think?
I think they are a bit discombobulated because for all the talk of Biden not making it, he did seem rather determined to do so, and so I think they have been slightly caught out by it. And you only have to with Trump, you don't even really need to read between the lines, because he puts it out there on Truth Social, or he blurts it out in debates. And he's been saying, we've spent millions of dollars fighting Sleepy Joe, and now they've thrown another candidate into the ring. We've got to start all over again. So that kind of suggests a certain consternation behind the scenes. But I think they will just switch to putting all of the policies of the administration, of course, it is onto her, but it's the Biden-Harris administration. But they've also got the added ingredients, which I think they are rather enjoying, that Harris was put in charge of stemming migration from Central America up through the Mexico border. And they've got a lot of what they call opposition material. They've got a lot of comments and actions of Harris from saying in 2022 the border is secure, and of course then in 2023 they had the record numbers arriving at the border, like claiming asylum or trying to sneak in, which given that immigration and irregular immigration is pretty much the top or the second top issue in the whole election, I think they're rubbing their hands over that one.
Sure. And look, before I let you go, David, there was when Trump announced his own running mate, J.D. Vance, there was when he was running against Biden, it looked like a show of enormous confidence, because Vance is a sort of a very much a figure of the kind of sort of new Trump right. And there's been some suggestion since then that actually now that he's up against Harris, this begins to look like a bit of an unforced error. What's your take there?
Yeah, I'd go along with that. Actually, we may look back on this as a sign of overconfidence by Trump. Who would have guessed? That
of all people, yes,
of all people, yes, the Vance pick ignored candidates who were in the running, who were definitely more moderate and perhaps could reach out a little more to appeal to swing voters. I'm thinking of the governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum, who became a self-made billionaire by founding a tech company, and was seen as an older guy who was seen as more of a safer pair of hands. But only in the light of the Dems jettisoning Biden and then going with Kamala Harris, has it begun to seem like going with a full-on MAGA ticket. And playing the strategy obviously is to motivate the base, and not really to reach much further beyond, certainly not to make particular overtures to women voters, who Vance has been upsetting all week with various resurface comments that he's doubled down on, such as Kamala Harris and a lot of the Democrats are miserable cat ladies who are running the country, and that childless Americans don't deserve to have the vote, or shouldn't have as much say in elections as Americans with children, and all of this rather off-putting stuff, perhaps especially to female voters, but you may say just to swing voters generally. It may look even more of a mistake when Harris chooses a running mate who does have a bit of broader appeal, maybe. Let's see.
Yeah, with a directly designed to appeal to the centre. Indeed. Thank you very much indeed, David Charter. That's the Times' US assistant US editor, forgive me, and you can read that story in today's Times.